On a cold and snowy Christmas Eve in a town not too far away, something was stirring. In this quaint little town, nestled between snow-kissed hills and a frozen river, life was beginning to slow down for the evening. Houses were lit up with twinkling lights, mirroring the stars above, and chimneys puffed out smoke, creating a cozy, dreamlike haze. The holiday spirit was palpable. It hung in the air like a warm, comforting blanket. In one particularly lively house, a family was in the throes of Christmas Eve excitement. There was the father, a hale and hearty man, known for his infectious laughter, the mother, a gentle soul with a heart full of love, and their two children, bright-eyed and bubbling with anticipation for the morning to come. Their home was filled with the intoxicating aroma of baked goods and the soothing melodies of Christmas carols. Yet despite the joy and merriment, a shadow of a tale loomed in the corners of the town's collective memory. A tale that was whispered in hushed tones, passed down from generation to generation. A tale tied inexplicably to this joyous time of year. It spoke of a dark figure, a phantom of sorts, that was said to roam the town on Christmas Eve, casting a chill that was felt in the marrow of the bones. The family, like most others in town, had heard of this tale. They treated it as folklore, a scary story to tell around the crackling fire. They laughed it off, their hearts filled with the spirit of Christmas, their minds buzzing with the excitement of the festivities. Their home was a haven of warmth and love, untouched by the icy grip of the legend. For now, the family was engulfed in the comfort of their traditions, the hanging of stockings, the decorating of the Christmas tree, the wrapping of the last-minute presents. As they settled down for the night, their home filled with laughter and the promise of a magical day to come, they were blissfully unaware of what the night had in store for them. As the family settled down, none of them were aware of the chilling night that lay ahead. In this snow-covered town, a sinister tale has been passed down through generations, a tale that chills the bone even on the warmest of holiday nights. The legend of an entity so malevolent, it's earned the name the Christmas Phantom. Every Christmas Eve, as the townfolk settle down for a festive night, the air grows cold, the lights flicker, and whispers of the phantom's arrival can be heard echoing through the snow-dusted streets. It's said the phantom came into being centuries ago, a dark creation birthed by a tragedy that struck the town on a Christmas Eve long past. Now the phantom is a spectral figure, a haunting presence that slips through the night, leaving behind a trail of eerie happenings. The once jovial holiday turned into a night filled with unease and anticipation. Recall the incident of the old miller who on one Christmas Eve found his mill spinning wildly despite no wind, or the tale of the widow Jenkins, who woke to the sound of ghostly carols only to find her entire front yard covered in frost patterns that looked suspiciously like skeletal reindeer. The most chilling incident, perhaps, was of young Timmy O'Sullivan, who one Christmas Eve disappeared from his bed only to be found the next morning atop the town's giant Christmas tree, no memory of how he got there. These stories, each one more unsettling than the last, have imprinted a deep-rooted fear in the hearts of the townfolk, a fear that the Christmas phantom isn't just a legend, but a very real entity that brings with it a chilling presence every Christmas Eve. And so, as the town prepares for another festive season, the legend of the Christmas phantom is whispered in hushed tones, a ghostly figure who, though unseen, casts a long dark shadow over the town's festivities. This Christmas Eve, the legend was about to become a terrifying reality. As the clock struck midnight, an eerie silence fell over the house. The house, once brimming with the joyous laughter and radiant warmth of Christmas, now lay quiet and cold. The once twinkling Christmas lights seemed to dim, and the merry carols that once filled the air were replaced with an unsettling stillness. In the corner of the room, the grand Christmas tree began to shake violently, as though seized by an invisible force. The ornaments adorning the tree, each a cherished memory of Christmases past, began to rattle and quiver. One by one, they plummeted to the floor, their festive cheer shattering into 1,000 pieces, echoing the disquiet that had descended upon the house. Suddenly, the air filled with an uncanny sound. It was a whisper soft yet chilling, like the winter wind rustling through bare trees in the dead of night. The whisper seemed to come from everywhere, and yet nowhere. It was as though the very walls of the house were speaking, their murmurs seeping into every corner, every crack, every crevice of the house. The whisper grew louder, more insistent. It was no longer a mere rustle, it was a chorus of hushed voices, their words indecipherable, but their intent clear. They were not of this world. They were the whispers of the otherworldly, the spectral, the phantom. The temperature in the room plummeted, a coldness seeping into the bones of the house, chilling it to its very core. The warmth of the fireplace flickered and died, surrendering to the icy grip of the phantom. The house, once a beacon of holiday cheer and familial love, was now a theater of the eerie and the uncanny. The once jovial Christmas scene had been transformed into a chilling spectacle, the joy and merriment replaced with fear and unease. The night was no longer silent, and the house was no longer just a house. It was the stage for a spectral visitor, a phantom, unseen but undeniably present. The Christmas phantom had made its presence known. The family, now wide awake, could not believe the horror unfolding around them. The once joyous Christmas Eve had turned into a chilling nightmare, a haunting they never could have expected. The phantom, an entity more terrifying than any legend they'd heard, was now a cold, hard reality. Their once secure home now felt like a house of horrors. The festive decorations, twinkling in the eerie silence, seemed to mock their fear. The Christmas tree, once a symbol of joy, now cast ominous shadows that danced unsettlingly on the walls. They huddled together, their hearts pounding in unison, their breaths hitching in the chilling air. The family, driven by a primal instinct to survive, tried to devise a plan. They barricaded the doors and windows, hoping to keep the phantom at bay. But the phantom was not deterred. It seemed to slip through the smallest cracks, its chilling presence seeping into every nook and cranny, filling the house with a bone-chilling cold. In their desperation, they attempted to seek help. They dialed numbers hastily, their trembling fingers slipping on the cold glass of their phones. But every call, every plea for help was met with static. It was as if the phantom had cut them off from the outside world, trapping them in their own personal nightmare. Their fear grew with each passing minute, the ticking of the clock echoing their dwindling hope. The once comforting silence of the night now felt oppressive, the darkness outside seeming to mirror the dread that filled their hearts. The phantom was relentless, its haunting presence a constant reminder of their terrifying predicament. Despite their desperate attempts, their situation seemed bleak. The phantom was far from done, its eerie laughter ringing in their ears, a chilling reminder of the horror that awaited them. Their hope was dwindling, and the night was far from over. In the midst of their despair, an unexpected realization dawned upon them. As they huddled together, hearts pounding, their minds raced to make sense of the eerie occurrences. The phantom, the whispers, the chilling presence. Then in the silence, a thought emerged. Was the phantom truly malevolent, or was it misunderstood? They began to piece together the fragments of their terrifying encounters. The phantom did not harm them. It did not threaten them. Instead, it seemed to be reaching out, trying to communicate, its spectral form flitting through their home with an air of desperation. The whispers they had heard, previously thought to be ominous, took on a new meaning. They were not threats, but pleas for help. The family began to see the phantom not as a terror, but a tragedy. A lost spirit, trapped in an existence it did not choose, reaching out to the living in the only way it knew how. The family's fear began to fade, replaced with a newfound understanding. They realized that this specter, this phantom, was not a herald of doom, but a soul in need. A soul lost in the depths of the ethereal realm, seeking a beacon of light to guide it home. It wasn't a haunting they were experiencing, it was a cry for help. An ethereal SOS from beyond the veil. The phantom was not their enemy. It was a victim, a prisoner of its own existence, reaching out to them from the other side. Their fear turned into resolve. They decided to help the spirit, turning the darkest Christmas into the most memorable one. They would guide this lost soul back to where it truly belonged, help it find its peace. This phantom, this spirit, was now their responsibility. their mission, their duty, and so the family set out on their new journey to aid a spirit in need, to turn their darkest Christmas into a beacon of hope for a lost soul. And it was in this unforeseen twist that their fear turned into courage, their despair into resolve, and their darkest Christmas into their most unforgettable one.